being thrown out. So he tells me, he's like, oh my God, how much money do they need? I told him. And then he was like, right now it's too hard. Because it was evening, now that was like at 8. It was late in the night, yeah? So I remember I went and I also called, there's an organization that helps ladies. So I reached out to them. I told them I'm stranded and all that. They're like, oh, you have COVID? No. Poland has a policy for taking care of COVID people. So immediately they're like, don't worry. We are coming to pick you. Just get a place where you can put your things, and then we shall send an ambulance to pick you, and they will take good care of you. I'm like, wow. So that lady called the COVID guys, and so I called one of my friends. I told her, I think you already know I'm sick. She's like, yeah. I told her, but I need a place where to put my things because they've told me an ambulance is coming to pick me. She was like, Joan, don't worry. Just send them over. We shall spray them, or carry them using gloves. No problem. So those girls used to live three. There were 3 ladies who are living together. So they were so helpful and they kept encouraging me. So I'm so grateful to God for them. May God bless them abundantly. So they received all my property, and yeah, as I was waiting there, woo, 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 here we go. The ambulance comes in. So they drive me to a place I have never seen. Like, it was miles. Like, I was wondering, where are we going? So we get there. They first check you again, yeah, to confirm. They do not take you in unless they confirm. So they check in, and then immediately they ask me, are you sure you're fine? I'm like, I'm okay. Just a lot of headache. And they tell me, but your COVID is too high. It is like, because the guy who was the doctor that was explaining to me, he was trying to simplify the Polish. So he tells me, malaria plus plus plus. I'm like, yes. So you have COVID plus plus plus. I'm like, what? He's like, yes, very bad, very bad. I'm like, okay. Now, God, you told me what? All is working for my good. So, the good thing is that they leave everything with you. They were so good. Oh my God, the doctors were so good. So, I went to the hospital praying. Like, I had this thing of like, what if there's also racism in the hospitals? What will happen when they throw me like sleeping under the bed, or no one is taking care of you or something? But it wasn't the case. Like, the lady who checked me came and explained everything to me. She told me, don't worry, you'll be fine. Like, everything was so fine. So immediately they asked me, do you have where to go, or we are the ones going to take care of you? I told them, no, you're the ones taking care of me. So they're like, don't worry, we have good apartment. I'm like, okay. So, but it was still in the hospital. So they're like, no, we are going to admit you. We would have taken you somewhere else, but you're in a bad condition, so we are going to admit you in the hospital. We shall give you a room. I'm like, fine. So they take me to like one of the rooms. I think it was the most top room. Like, I would literally see the airport, everything. Like, yeah. And I remember they took me in immediately, put me on a drip. They asked me if I have energy. They brought for me, I think it was like 2 cartons of water. And I remember the doctor telling me, Joan, you see water? This medicine. Look, this medicine. So she was telling me, like, I look at water as medicine, like I should drink and drink. When she told me that, I was like, hey, I'm going to drink that water. My dear, I remember there were the first 2 cartons they brought for me. They would be like 6, but each is 2 liters, 2 liters, 2 liters. So there are 3. There are 6, but each 2 liters. I remember I would drink one line of like 3 in just one day. That's like 6 liters. I would drink all 8, I would drink. But I feel like today the video is getting longer, but let me try to break it down. Yeah. So I remember I was admitted on a Sunday. Yeah, I was admitted on a Sunday, and I found out that I was sick on a Saturday evening. I was admitted on Sunday evening, and immediately my pastors, when I told them where I was, everything, they asked me if they allow people. I told them they don't, but however, they can allow you to bring anything for any patient. Oh my God. Literally the whole church like showed up. Every day I had a different person cook for me something. Every day I had a different, like, I reached a time and the doctors were overwhelmed. They told me, Joanne, you're international. I'm like, yay! You know? And they're telling me, you have Indian friends bringing food, American friends bring food, Jamaican friends bring food, Rwandese, African, Asian, everyone bring food for you. I'm like, yay. So, like, I was so overwhelmed by the love that I got. Like, indeed, as God told me, like, He's working everything for my good. Like, I got to connect with so many people in that time. Yeah. People I would see from afar became so close. Yeah. My pastor opened so many doors for me. Like, so he talked to most of the women in church and told them about my situation, that I'm admitted. So you'd have different people calling you, hi Joan, I'm bringing food for you, what can I bring? Hi Joan, what do you want? And people were sending me money, you know, like I was just overwhelmed, you know. And so on Monday, it was like that. So, but Monday and Tuesday, I totally did not have any energy. Like, I remember I didn't bathe for those 2 days. Like, being in bed, but you can't even turn. The only energy I had was stretching my arm, get a bottle of water, and drink. Then doctors would come in like totally wrapped. Do you know wrapped sandwich? Like wrapped. You could only see their eyes. Yeah, but I had this particular nurse that would always come in, you know, she'd check on me and then she would try to ask me about Africa. We would talk, like she would try to keep me involved. And the room had TV, so they would connect like movies, you know, those things. But for 2 days, I couldn't get up. I was weak. I don't know if everyone who had COVID got the same thing, but I got pain under my is this the left? Yeah, my left breast, but under it is more like on the stomach. I had a sharp pain there, like I couldn't turn, I couldn't, and they told me it's because like when you have COVID, it's very hard to digest food. Yeah, so the type of food they were bringing was so it wasn't good, and more soup, more what, I couldn't take it. So I was glad people are bringing me food, and came Wednesday, I got energy, got up, went and showered, and I remember that is the time I got up and showered, but still I did not have like so much energy, yeah, but it was at least I could shower, you know. So I got up, and that's when I thought, I'm like, but I have a pastor back home, you know. I see him pray for the lame, I see him pray for, you know, for the sick and the healed. You know what? I should reach out. So I called the wife. My pastor back here is Pastor Robert and Jessica Kayanja of Miracle Center Cathedral. So I called them. I called the wife, yeah. I sent her a WhatsApp message. I told her I was admitted in hospital, worried because I'd been on oxygen the day before. So I told her I'm worried about my life. She was like, don't worry. When Pastor Kayanja gets off pulpit tonight, he'll call you. So I remember that night, Pastor Kayanja calls me and he tells me, put your hand on your chest. Yeah, so I put my hand on, but by the time he called, I was very weak. Like, I was very weak. I would feel so bad in the evenings. So I remember I was very weak. I held my chest and I couldn't breathe. And the button for the nurses was a bit far. I couldn't stretch out. So I remember holding my chest and hearing him pray. And I think I slept off. I don't know. But he prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed until I just dozed off. Yeah. So, and then following day, they told me they have to do a test. They had made another test on Tuesday, and I was still I was still COVID plus. So they told me they changed the medicine they were giving me, and then they wanted to see if there was any difference. So Pastor Kayanja prayed for me that night. In the morning, they came to do a COVID test, and I was there. The nurse comes running. Joan, I have good news for you. I'm like, what news? She's like, no COVID, everything good. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh my God, it must be the prayers. Oh my God, like, you can't tell me on Tuesday I had plus, and on Wednesday I am fine, you know? So, like, she tells me, but shh, don't tell anyone, you know, it's the doctor who has to come and tell you. You know, she was a very friendly nurse. Yeah, and she was very good, really. So, and yeah, so she gives me the good news. I remember I was so overwhelmed. I remember actually making a video when I was overwhelmed. I was crying and I was thanking God. I think one time I might share that video. I think I'll share that video at the end of this like storytelling. Yeah. So I remember like crying and I'm thanking God, and yeah, I was so overwhelmed. Then Thursday came, they checked me again, they said I was fine. Then they said, you know what, on Saturday you're heading back home. And remember, I do not have where to go. So now I start worrying, like, I've become better. Obviously, like, COVID doesn't just go. Its side effects are even worse than COVID, you know, because you don't have energy, you feel like puking, like the side effects after, actually, the after COVID process is harder than when you have even the COVID. Yeah. So I was very weak. I remember I was on oxygen for 2 days. And now I'm worrying. I'm like, where am I going? So I think, why not call Pastor Scott again? I call him, I tell him my situation, and he's like, you know what? Don't worry. There's a family that has decided to take you in. And they've said, you don't need to pay rent, you don't need to do anything. They're going to take good care of you until you're fine and back on your feet. I'm like, what? Like, yeah. So I sit down and I'm like, what family is this, you know? I thought, I'm like, but that's inconvenience. Why would I live with people? You know, like, I thought about it like that whole day, just contemplating what I should do. Should I take the offer or not? Should I? But if I don't, then what? So I talked to one of my friends. I call one of my friends and I tell her about it, and she's like, Joan, take the offer. If you're not going to parent and you're not going to buy food and you're not going to do anything in Europe, who even does that? Like, just take the offer. And these people are Christians. So Saturday comes and Pastor Scott comes to pick me and his wife. I don't know what I will ever do for that lady and husband. Those pastors are really heavenly sent. Like, they really portray what Jesus is like. Yeah. So they came to pick me, you know, and they drove me straight to that new home. I'd seen those, the people I was going to live with, I had seen them in church, but I didn't know who they were. So I thought actually she was a Polish lady and maybe her husband or something. And so I reach at their place. They're like, oh, come here. They're not even afraid of me. I'm like, the doctor told me it takes 1 month for me to, you know, interact with you. I have to separate my spoon, my fork, you know, like I'm bringing in all that. They're like, no, you don't need that. We also had COVID before and we are fine. So don't worry. Don't worry. And they made me feel so at home. They gave me my own room. You know, like, have you eaten? Have you, you know? And then I get to know about them. They were actually Americans. So they're American missionaries who are like in Poland to serve God. And this lady like became my mom. You know, like mommy. You know, like she's one person that would want to know everything that is happening in my life, and she wanted to guide me, and she did not want me to, like a real mother, you know, like she did not look at me like this person is just living with us, no. And I was the first African living in their house, you know. And Mommy Anna took good care of me. Like I call her my American mom. And I lived with her for 3 months. You can imagine feeding me, everything on them, like everything on them. Yes, I have other people who are like looking after me. There's some other lady. There is Mommy Eva. She's a Polish lady. Very, very loving. Like seeing her makes me think of angels. I don't know why. Like she's so, I don't know. That is her nature. Like she loves hugging. She's very happy, excited. Like I really love her. And there was also another lady who was from Nigeria. I don't remember her name, but that lady, I remember she used to shop groceries and bring them at Mommy Anna's place. You know, like, this is for Joan. She would shop my shampoo, all those things, you know. It was really, really humbling. And I got to meet so many people. So it's during that time, I got sick on 1st August. And I remember I stayed in hospital, was it 2 weeks? And then the other weeks I was weak. I was at Mommy Anna's place, but I was weak. Then I started believing God. I told God on 1st September I need a job. And a good job. I'm not working for any more places or like stores or factories or what. I need a job, and I wanted a teaching job, yeah? So I believed God. Had thrown in, some of my, CVs here and there, but most people wanted native speakers. Like if you speak English, you're born and raised speaking English, it's easy for you, like to get a job for teaching English, yeah. So in nursery, so on 1st September, as I had prayed for it, I was called for an interview, and that is how I ventured into teaching. I had my first children, 1st September 2020. And since then, I kept teaching. And it was a very good salary. Oh my God, like when God tells you something, just believe He's going to do it. Like everything worked for my good. I kept on telling ICF, like the same year that I cried the most is the same year that God blessed me the most, because I started earning money. Money that I had never earned in my life before. Like good money. And you're only working for 8 hours. You're playing with kids. You're teaching them English, and you're teaching them like for 30 minutes, you know. And it was really good. I just bless God for that situation, and I just thank God for every person that stood with me. Sasha, I remember Sasha used to cook for me food. Like there's so many people that stood with me, you know. So many people. The Ugandan community, like so many people stood with me. They would send me messages, pray with me. My husband now became overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed. I remember there's a day, like he spent 2 days without talking to me, and I just knew he was scared. And I tried to go through a friend to look for him, and they were like, he's overwhelmed, he's almost running mad, please be fine. And I remember I called him like on Thursday when I was feeling better. I danced for him, I showed him I was fine, and then I gave him the good news of, oh my God, they've told me my COVID is low. Because they first told me it is low, then they told me it's normal. Yeah. So I just thank God for that time. So going through COVID here made me remember about that time, you know, like having COVID, same time being evicted and then being admitted in hospital on oxygen was quite a challenge. Yeah. So my encouragement to all people who have COVID out there, like, you can make it. It's all here. Yeah. Believe that you are going to be fine. Believe that you're going to get better, and do whatever they tell you to do, like what the doctor tells you to do. And above all, hydrate, like drink water, like drink water. Water flushes out the virus, and that's what they were telling me. So drink. Yeah. So that is it for today. I love you guys. Thank you very much for all the people who subscribed. I love you so much. And if you're watching and you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share, and until next time, Joan.